Okay, English 1000, Section 40. Let me give you a little secret on how to find an MLA template that will eliminate stress and the tedium of setting up your paper according to MLA format. So when you open up Word, you have File, and then you go to New. And then there's just a laundry list of all kinds of templates that you can use. For our purposes, we would want to use the MLA style paper. But let's say that you're not actually using Microsoft Word on a Mac and you're using it on a PC. You would go to the top where it says Search Templates and simply type MLA. It'll narrow it down to MLA style paper, MLA style research paper. For our purposes, we're going to use MLA style paper and double click on that. Now, when you look at the MLA style paper, there's a lot of extra information in there that's not pertinent to what we need. So I'm going to suggest going to the very last page and deleting that information all the way up to the first paragraph, because I haven't asked you for tables and figures in a works cited page yet. So what we have is basically a very pared down template. And if you'll notice, it gives you directions on how to set this up. But those directions can be kind of simple. So I'm going to pretend that we're in the classroom together and set it up with you. So the first thing it asks for is your name. What that basically means is your first and last name. So let's pretend that your name is Anouk Rourke, whatever your name is. Now, whatever your last name, which for our purposes today is Rourke, then the last name has to be in here. But how did I get into the header section? Well, you have to put your cursor up here and double click into the header section and then highlight where it says last name, and then you would type whatever your last name would be. Now, there are several ways to get out of here. You can press the close, or again, you can go to the body of the document and double click on it, and then you're out of it. But next, we need to include whatever your professor's name is. For our purposes, it's Professor Grimes. And then your course number. Ours is English 1000 in Section 40. And then the date. Not a lot of information on that, but the date should be according to military time. So today is September 11th, so we're going to put 11 September 2017. And that should always be reflective of whatever version. Like if this is your second revision, then your date should always change. So then we come to the title. We have the title and the subtitle. And since we're talking about setting up a paper, I'm going to say MLA, and this is practice. So we'll say MLA practice. Now you'll notice that our title is centered, which on the home screen here is centered up here, and that's depressed and a light gray. But we want it to be where we can start a new paragraph. So we're going to press Enter, and it's important that we go to Align Left. Now, when we align left, look at the ruler up here. The ruler has us at 1 inch margins, which is important, and then like a 1/2 inch indicating that it's been tabbed over. So let's pretend that we're setting up one of your composition drafts, and you have to label the paragraph. Since you finished CD2 yesterday, we'll say that this is your topic sentence. And you're writing something here, and you say something like, another reason why the American dream should be considered. Well, actually, let's do should not, because no one actually wrote on this, so I'll change that. Should not be considered a myth is that it is a dream, not a promise. And so we have a topic sentence here. And then you would follow through with some sort of evidence, and for our purposes, the quote would come from Aaron Reich, because that's what CD2 is all about. And just a quick reminder here, if I put GASP, G-A-S-P, on your paper, that means that you need to include some introduction to the quote. So, for example, that might be, according to Barbara Ehrenreich, in, from, nickel and dimed. And since this is actually an excerpt, and an excerpt means that it's not the entire book, then we would put it in quotation marks in it and add that preposition from. And then you would say some sort of quote, right? And the quote, since it's starting at the middle of the sentence here, that's why we put lowercase whatever the word is, that letter, we lowercase the letter, right? Letter is lowercase to indicate this quote is a continuation of a sentence, right? And then we include wherever this appears. Let's say this appears on page 217. So we have evidence, and then we would follow that with some sort of commentary, and then of course the commentary would indicate how the quote proves the topic sentence by explaining its significance. And of course you would move on to the evidence, and you would keep going, and I'm using ellipses here, the 3 dots, to show that this paragraph would continue going on. But I think we have the basic idea of how to set up an MLA template. So now we're just going to move to, then how do I save this? So you would go up to the File button here, and you would click on Save As. And let's say you want to save this to the desktop, and we're going to save this as MLA Practice. And remember, it's important to know what format you're saving it in. So if you click on the drop-down menu here, you have the .docs, which is the most recent version of Microsoft Word, or Doc, or the safest one if you're not sure is to do PDF. We're going to keep it at .docs, and we'll save it. And once we save it, it'll show up here that the title has changed. So now it's saved. And if we move, then it's now on our computer, and we can access this at any time. So hopefully this was a little introduction to how to use Microsoft Word to find the templates for MLA.